What did the numbers look like once you moved in your tenant on the other side?
Yeah, so I guess I should say our starting point of kind of what we were used to was about $1,300 all in for our single family. So that's, again, we did a low down payment. We did 5% down on that place. So, we had PMI and everything that we were kind of used to in the FHA we were familiar with. So it wasn't that big of a leap. So our first mortgage, this was actually the point of telling you about it falling through in the first part, was because we had to restart the lending cycle. Our interest actually went up over 1.5 to like 5.25. If you remember, there was like a weird 2 month span there where interest rates went up before they came back down. So we caught that in the perfect spot to purchase a home. So
Yeah.
We ended up getting like a 5% rate on that. So we ended up with a $2,100 in change monthly payment on the duplex, all in taxes, everything like that. I was pretty confident I could rent the one side for $1,400 for a 1-year lease. Melissa thought I was crazy, but we tried it at $1,400, just like put it on Zillow. And we had a couple hits, and the couple we ended up renting to, they didn't want to do the $1,400, but they were interested in a long-term lease. So I actually dropped it to $1,250 for a 2-year lease. And they ended up being fantastic tenants. They were great first tenants. So it ended up our share being roughly $650, $700, whatever that math works out to for the first year. And then FHA offers I think they call it a streamline refinance, which is without any additional like credit looking into you or proof of income. They basically just swap out your interest rates. So we were able to drop that price just with an interest rate swap down to about $1,900 a month where it is now. So we knocked about $200 off in interest after the first year.
Yeah, to us, it was more valuable to have our first tenant sign a 2-year lease than that $150 a month, just so that we knew we had a tenant, they were locked in for 2 years, and kind of our first go at it, we had someone who was going to be there long term.
Yeah, and it probably reiterated proof of concept. I'm sure it was a intimidating step, of course, to buy a duplex to begin with. But then, Melissa, from your standpoint, you didn't know, if somebody would actually rent for that much. But now you got somebody in there for 2 years, much longer than you guys probably anticipated. To locking in a rate, cutting your living expense by at least 50%. If it was $1,300 and you're only paying $600, that's 50% plus all the additional costs of home ownership beyond the mortgage. It sounds like you guys were already saving quite a bit of money.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I would encourage anybody looking at this to do is don't, real estate seems to be such like we're all very competitive, I think, people by nature. And there's always this like, hey, I'm going to compare deals and get a better return and be a better investor than you. But especially with your first house hack, like if it makes sense for you on a personal level, do it. Like it doesn't have to be some crazy cash flowing 20% ROI thing. If it gets you to a point where you have a lower cost of living and you can save and get rid of some student loan debt or whatever, like it's a good move. So don't get too caught up in all those, tit for tat or whatever you want to call them.
Well, and I think for me too, it was hard because it felt like a lot of people were putting their stress on us about like how successful this could possibly be. And it's like both of our parents were very skeptical of, how successful you could be at renting a property. I felt like we got questions every day about whether or not we had renters. And now that we're going through the renting process again, we get questions every day again about whether or not our house is going to rent.